Hello and welcome to the shop. I'm Jared and this is the Questionable Garage, and this is going to be our final episode, hopefully, on the Snyder ST600-C. This is a 2012 that was donated to the museum miles through time in a bunch of boxes. Did not run, and the original museum that bought it had purchased a running driving example and got this. They eventually did get what they had ordered. They then were left with this, we'll call it the proverbial pile.
That is one big pile of shit.
It was not the best condition, could not run, and you cannot easily source parts for it because the company that was importing these as a motorcycle, well, basically the EPA found out they were lying, and they got in a lot of trouble and they shut down. But there are occasionally, Snyders and wildfires out there if for whatever reason you needed a three-wheel vehicle in your life. Now, if you remember in the last episode, we were unboxing the parts that our friend Mike sourced from us out of China because this is still made today in China, and we got a Christmas tree. It was not the Christmas we were looking for. Totally okay. He sent out the correct packages. Apparently that was a product sample not destined for us, so he got them sent out to us. We're going to hopefully have that box. We're going to see what all we've got in there and the final parts to make this run. We were missing axles, a starter, an exhaust pipe, and a crank sensor. I can make a lot of that, but a couple of them we're going to have to find the original parts for. So this thing is not going to get to running and driving on its own. We've got to make it run and drive and look a little prettier, and then take it up to the museum. I don't know that I can drive this thing, and I don't know how easily I can load a three-wheeler on the trailer. This is going to be fun. All right, we have got ourselves another box from our friends Mike, coming out of Hong Kong and China, with parts for our Snyder for the FLA 7, FLA 9, Golden Horse, whatever you want to call the Snyder. And I went ahead and threw all of them in because we've kind of been tinkering enough. And it's time to get it running. So we've got that exhaust pipe. I did not weld in the O2 sensor bung. One big reason is we couldn't get the 100% guaranteed correct O2 sensor, and I kind of made the decision. It was better for the system to just go into default, have that error code for not having the oxygen sensor, versus giving it bad data. Any vehicle, doesn't matter if it has an oxygen sensor, a computer is only as good as the information you give it. The computer asking like it's not getting any information from a sensor is better than getting bad information. So did not add that bung. We have got ourselves a starter. I made a 10 gauge charging wire, which is actually thicker than a lot of the wiring related to the power system. And we got a crank sensor wire. All the pieces to make it run. I also, off camera, went ahead and added coolant to it, and we drained the old fuel out, which did not smell at all like fuel, more like, I don't have a good word picture. It did not smell good. It's amazing how basically cars that were parked like pre-85, you can start it on that fuel from pre-85. Anything past then, a year or two later, and it's gone bad. Anyway, we are ready to finally try to start it. It's been a long Saturday here, don't worry. Let's see here. Key on, service brake, check engine light, parking brake. Also, again, drained and refilled. 2.5 gallons is indicating half a tank. I don't know what side. Oh, we do need to push the clutch in. Oh, all right. Am I limber enough to do all of the things? Clutch in. Hold camera crank. Oh, a little stumble. And then nothing else. One thing that has me a little and it could just be the Snyders, I don't know. When I crank, everything goes off, which makes me wonder if we're also losing power to the ECU. Something you'll run into potentially a lot, depending on the different crazy things that you do when you're cranking, especially if you're installing aftermarket computers on old carbureted cars. When you're in crank, most everything else turns off. So if it doesn't have power while cranking, your ECU will actually even turn off. You'll find that sometimes on a custom TBI install or full fuel injection install. If while cranking, it kind of has half a second of trying to start and then nothing, that kind of leans towards you losing power on that accessory circuit, which will actually turn the computer off completely while cranking. There's not enough diagnostic data on these, so I don't know. We'll give it one more shot. Yeah, it's acting like it's getting nothing. So, holy cow. I just noticed the mileage on this car. 299. 299. Where did the engine go? What went wrong? I wish we could have the whole story of this car, because it's rough. It's been banged into a bunch of stuff, not cared about. But something that's interesting, the fact that it says Blue Demo. I wonder if this is what they were using to sell people on how amazing a Snyder was. So the next step we're going to go ahead and take in trying to get this started is I'm just going to leave it in on. And then we're going to go back and bypass the starter and crank it manually. So we're not worrying about turning into the crank mode. We're going to keep it keyed on and see if possibly she'll start then, which would then tell us there's potentially a problem up here in the key circuit. I hope not, because there's really not much information. And Mike's been amazing. I'm getting overnight parts from Hong Kong and China. I'm not looking forward to that shipping bill. But now it's time for a little diagnosis. So something you didn't see before. Look at that beautiful starter down in there. And this one wire here, just a spade connector. That green plug. So we're going to bypass that. Give me 1 second. I mean, I could go for, as Derek calls it, a lone wolf, but we're just going to do a jumper wire here. Take one lead, connect it down to our spade here. That is connected, and we just need to touch this to some 12 volt. That's going to give us some crankage. So if our ECU is losing power and shutting everything down, this will take care of it. Okay, did not change a thing. So, spark. Spark is our next test. Let me give a spark tester. Because remember, for an engine to run, you need compression/air, you need fuel, you need fire. I'm just assuming this is a brand new engine, and based on the sound, the fact that the starter is working to turn the engine over, we do have compression. So, next step is fire. Let's check and see that we are getting some spark. So, we're going to put a spark tester in line and see what happens then. Now, what's fun about this is I have done ignition timing syncs on a lot of really high horsepower Supras with this little setup. So we're going to pull this out, drop this in, give us a little click. And then, now you could do just the spark plug to a cylinder head, a screwdriver, hold this near. I really hate getting bit by ignition coils, so I'm going to use the tester because nothing says ouch like 40,000 plus volts coursing through the body. Anyone who's ever been bit by an ignition system, you know what I'm talking about. So if you're in an absolute pinch, spark plugs, screwdrivers, they do work. Wear an insulated glove, or if you have the right tools, you don't even have to worry about it. But I know not everyone always has the right tools. So we're still keyed on up there. Touch that and all right. So we're getting spark, but we're still not firing. So goodbye to the air boot, and don't do this. I absolutely hate doing this because you need to lubricate your cylinders. Starter fluid is completely dry. Ether, shop clean, it is dry, but it is extremely flammable. Also, well worth. Use my discount code in the description. Does more than just start engines. They got a whole lineup of stuff. So I'm going to put the phone down, open the throttle body, give us some squirts. We're going to lie on our GoPro friend right there and see if maybe we can get some fire. I hate doing this, but it's a quick, easy test to see if our fuel pump is running. I did also discover that when we're adding gas, it pours it all over the ground, so there's potentially a crack in that fuel hose, but okay, I saw some go in. We are still keyed on. Come on. Hey! Woo! Ow! There went a little spot of hair. Okay, so we're not getting fuel. Ow! I scorched some hair off my arm. We need to figure out why the fuel pump's not turning on. If it is a problem, the pump being bad or whatnot. So we'll actually have to close this lid, flip open the other lid, and we're gonna test it for power. Actually, I'm gonna do one more test. I'm gonna go get my Noid light, if I can find it, and make sure that our injectors are firing, because then that will tell us fuel delivery. All right, we got our little universal Noid light. I love this little thing. You can snap it on a window, so if you're alone. But the main thing is we've got it plugged into one of our injectors. And this Noid light, they call it a Noid light because you're very annoyed whenever you have to pull this out to diagnose a car. I'm not sorry for that one. Not in the slightest bit. Oh joy! We have spark. We have no injector duty cycle. If we're getting spark, that means the computer is seeing all the signals it needs to make it. Why are we not getting injector duty cycle? I'm going to try a scan tool. It has a diagnostic port. Let's see what happens. The art diag is at least trying to figure out what we're connected to. This thing's been impressive, but I think asking an obscure Chinese American illegally imported under false information vehicle might be a little too much. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. It may figure out how to talk to it. If all else fails, we're going to go to the backup, which is lock and unlock everything with a key. But if it's getting spark, that means it is definitely getting a cam and crank signal. It just all isn't making sense. If we're getting ignition, we should be getting injector pulse width. That's that plug. Oh! Okay. I was not making good contact, because if you watch... So we're not getting fuel pump. That's a lot easier to go back and start figuring out. Okay. Well then, we are going through this tiny hole. And there is our fuel pump. So we got 4 wires. 2 of these are going to be gauge. We have light blue and blue with black. I'm kind of guessing blue with black. Well, maybe the fact that nothing's running. Woo! Alright, so we either have a locked up fuel pump or it wasn't blue with black. So I'm going to jump to the different set of wires, which is not easy at all. I've got so many diagnostics pulled out here. So looking for little connectors and things that I needed, I found a whole lot of tools I bought off the tool truck. And soapbox Jared again. When I worked in the dealership, I was the specialist, meaning when no one else could figure it out, I had to do it. I spent a lot of money on really fancy tools. This is a basic diagnostic step. This right here, if I remember, was $18 on Amazon. A push button starter can be as cheap as $8 or $9, $14 if you want to get a better one. And some test leads. $40 worth of tools is what I'm honestly going to be using to diagnose this car. I love my tool reps. The relationships I had with them were phenomenal. They were great. But I hope any of you starting off right now, please don't fall down the path I did. When I tell you I spent over $250,000 on tool trucks, that is not an exaggeration. That is an underestimate. I bought every shiny new fancy thing because I thought I needed it. When realistically, you don't need the $1,000+ tools. You can do it with a $30 tool if you understand what you're testing. So, soapbox ending, please, please, please don't fall trap. All of you guys that are wanting this to be a career, you're in tech school, you're getting those fancy, oh, you're gonna save 50% if you buy Snap-on through this insane interest program, but we're not really telling you the interest, it's only this per month. You don't need that anymore. There's lots of options out there. You've got people retiring, you've got Harbor Freight, you've got Amazon, you've got Home Depot. The Craftsman line is coming back. You have so many more options. Please don't fall victim to the tool trucks. All that, now I'm gonna pull the fuel pump and see what we can figure out what's going on inside there. Our pump is full and properly dead. Dead. So we either take it apart and try to fix it, which is kind of what I'm leaning on, or we order more parts from our friend Mike, which he's been absolutely amazing, but I think we can fix this one. It's a fuel pump. It's something simple. So I'm going to go ahead and pop it apart, see if I maybe even have something here that will go ahead and go inside it so we can get this car running. We are so close. We are so close. We know the computer is trying to send the spark. We know it is trying to run the injectors. It just isn't getting the fuel it needs to run. Because once we get the fuel it's needing to run, it will run and hopefully drive. And then this glory will be going down the road. Whether it should be or not, it doesn't matter. It was legal in 2012. So that means it's legal today. Also, I'm kind of wondering, what happens if I go to try to take my motorcycle endorsement in this thing? This is a motorcycle, per the government. It is classified motorcycle. But I kind of feel like if I show up to try to take my driving test in it, they're going to tell me no. Who knows? But we're going to tear into this fuel pump and try to get that working, because that's the next step to make it run. Well, let's get you guys updated. I climbed up to the abyss of fuel system parts, and I got a fuel pump that's actually a takeout from an R35 Nissan GTR. That means automatically this car is going to make 500 horsepower because we installed that fuel pump and it does power up, but the corrugated plastic did not survive. It shattered, which is not surprising. So currently there's no connection from the fuel pump outlet to the fuel line, which is okay. One thing I will caution you, anytime you're doing the in-tank fuel system plumbing, make sure you are using submersible rated fuel line. The reason I say that is you can put normal fuel line in there and it'll be good for 1 month, 2 months, 6 months. Suddenly it will split and explode because it is not designed to live in fuel. Just the inside rubber is. The correct stuff comes in about $27 a foot. So make sure you do spend that money, get the correct fuel line for in the tank. I am not going to be able to easily get that corrugated plastic line. It is really nice because it can fold very well and you don't need as much. Unfortunately, I'm going to need to go ahead and get normal submersible fuel line, which means I need to run a longer length of it to take the bends we need to get the fuel out so this thing will run. We got the correct fuel line in to put the GTR fuel pump and hopefully get the Snyder running, but I discovered 2 additional things. The fuel fill hose line, shot, crack, leaks a lot of gas, not a problem. Also discovered most every hose clamp and other pressurized fuel hose isn't good. I was doing some testing to pressurize and bleed the air out of the system, and a hose ruptured, and I caught about a gallon of gas. I smell pretty bad. But we are connected here. We've got new clamps on both sides there. We're now connected back with the starter. enough fuel has dried off of the engine. I feel safe trying to start it. Let's get you guys to also join in the action with me from the back. See the technical side. There. Have fun. Have fun. You don't. There we go. Okay, we got that going. I'll keep that fan running. Oh. Okay, fuel pump just powered up. And it does not appear to have sprayed everywhere. Will it crank without me putting the clutch in? Got it? It runs. Oh my. It's kind of sad sounding. It really is just a little sewing machine here. Type. Puts it along. Oh. You know, sometimes you get into a project where there's no information really, despite it being something still made, it's hard to get information here for it. You wonder if it was questionable or dumb to get into. It's neither. This is awesome. We've got a running Snyder that was just in pieces not too long ago. I mean, it's just a honest little two-cylinder. So far, all the fuel is staying where it should. It sounds like a four-wheeler. Not even a motor, just a cheap little four-wheeler. It's missing one to be that, but we're gonna go driving soon, and then we're gonna try to make this pretty, and then we're gonna go put it in a museum. Because why not? Oh, at least it's a very roomy car thing. Ow. There we go. I can't really do the pedals with the door closed. We can't get the clutch. There we go. What door? Oh, my door. Yeah. We're going to have a door open, I think, because I don't see reverse in my motorcycle. It's moving! This is the most ridiculous thing. I have got a lot of bizarre cars here. I think this is number one. You know, I thought it would be fun to drive this to the museum. Brakes work. I'm kind of done with that, I think. Ow. Ow. I need a smaller steering wheel. Okay. I can get my foot off the clutch. There we go. We're just going to hold the door. Second gear. This is ridiculous. Feels very stable at 10. Like it's the most mechanically Jetson sounding vehicle I've ever driven. We're gonna go off-roading. It sounds like a ATV. Why not try off-road things in it? Oh, and we're gonna hit 300 miles as we're doing this too. Okay. Oh, ow. Ow. Ooh. Oh, not a good idea. Ow. Oh. No, this is stupid. Ow. Ow. I would go back and get my helmet, but it won't do me any good because I'm ow. I wouldn't fit, and that's not going to fix the back. Stops really good. What a stupid car. Oh, okay. This thing is so much. Ow. Oh, so much fun. Oh. Oh, I'm going to pull up my new friend shop here and see if he can help me out. Ow. Thing you helped me out, I think a wheel fell off.
It looked like wheel come off the ground. You go like that.
Probably. Who would have thought such a ridiculous vehicle was going to be so much fun? Thank you to Mike and your friend, all your help getting the parts we needed for this thing out of China and Hong Kong. We now have the car running and driving and stopping and shifting, everything just like a brand new Snyder or Fulu 7/9 Golden Horse should do. I mean, we just rolled over 300 miles on it. I drove it just shy of 0.4 of a mile off-road. My back feels it, but we did it. But it's not ready. We're not in the episode yet. We're not ready for that because it looks kind of sad. We've got some dents, like that one there, the one that's on the side there, the wing mirror. We're going to replace that because that's broken. We have a new one. We're going to get our new roof rack in it and just try to get this thing polished up as great that we possibly can, so that way you guys can go see it at the Miles Through Time Museum. Spoiler for Sean and Miles Through Time, they're trying to set up special days where certain museum cars will come out for a riding experience. You can ride and feel what certain cars are like. And this is one of the candidates we want to get working, so that way you can come and get a ride in this. Okay, maybe I should have filmed a little bit more of some of the cosmetic stuff. I was just getting it done. It's time for this thing to go home, and I'm excited for it because we've got lots of other things we need to be working on in the shop, and the Snyder is no longer one of them. So if you remember, we'll walk around. I'll show you some of the problems. Broken tag frame, we put that one on together with my questionable bodywork. That's okay. Maybe I should clean that gas off. I had a fuel rupture. Covered me in the window. Well, look at that. She no longer has a big old hole in her booty. It almost looks like a face with all the reflectors. We've got that nice trim panel. Of course, we got the new exhaust. We've got our new mirrors on each side. This is no longer a floppy, dangly bit. We got our roof rack on. Looking good. And then something else, if you remember, our light kind of just pointed straight up because it could not snap into place. This was crushed a lot. So we've got that hammered out. Considering we're not aiming to do paint work or body filler, I'm pretty happy with the bit of work I did to that. We've got a new front grill. They just look so happy. I don't know why. Happy or dopey. One of the two. And then also on that side, she had that massive, massive dent and a ton of black rubber and tar. And we got most of that cleaned up. I'm pretty happy. So, next step, it's got to go to the museum. Again, it doesn't fit on my trailer, and we discovered in my little off-roading adventure, I can't close the door, so I probably shouldn't drive it down the highway 9 miles with a top speed of maybe 47 on 55-mile-an-hour roads. So I'm going to go get Sean from the museum real quick. I'll pick him up in roadblocks so we can show him a fun manual driving experience, and then see what he thinks of the car, see how good we did with it, and then follow it over for its first like real proper test drive down the road as we head to Miles Through Time. All right, Sean. So, how was the ride in Roadblock?
That was awesome. That car will set your head back.
I figured I needed to get you ready for this because you're going to have to drive it back.
I don't think you could have done a more contrast ride to get here as to what I'm going to take to get back there. I think this thing, I looked it up, it's got like 35 horsepower, maybe.
That's plenty,
It's
right?
going to take us a little bit longer to get back to the museum than it did to get here.
I mean, motorcycles only have like 35, 40 horsepower.
Yeah. I
So
don't even know how much this thing weighs. Any idea?
it takes forever to come down on the lift, so not much.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably not much more than any heavy bagger, but...
And all of the sheet metal is tiny, razor thin. I filleted my fingers open on it. Like, it's... Don't get in an accident. Because I think we'll just build a wood box around you.
No kidding. Yeah. I'd hope I fit in it as well.
What do you think of it, though? Like, compared to when you dropped it off...
Dude, it's a complete motor car. I don't know if that's a proper term. Motorcycle / car. I know it's a motorcycle, but I mean, you can't help but call it a car, kind of.
What other motorcycle has 4 crank windows and shoulder belts? But our next adventure, I've got a camera inside so we can capture Sean's real, genuine first impressions of this thing. I will tell you, I laughed uncontrollably, but I also didn't go down the highway.
Should be fun.
I guess cue footage of us driving to a gas station.
Let's see what it's all about.
Oh, yeah, there's so tell me if you feel that is like if Jetsons cars made a mechanical sound.
I don't know if it sounds like it's going to break on me or if this is what it's supposed to sound like. It's cartoony. I mean, it almost needs, one of those holograms on the dash. Oh, the clutch is long.
That's as tight as I could get it. All right, I've not seen it actually roll. It is it's a thing. How fast do you think you hit?
The speedometer has a red line at like, I think it was 50. It said it got up to almost 60. I don't know if I'm doing
you
60.
did 57. And on the outside, it looked completely stable.
It's pretty accurate then. It didn't feel, the steering actually feels pretty tight. Going around that first corner, it's like I wouldn't go too fast around it.
Everyone else needs to drive one of these, and because your commute would be so much better. It's hilarious to watch it go down the road.
I think I may have, after that first stop sign, I may have gone from first to fourth. and then I tried to find the right gear. Once you're in the top gear, it's just smooth sailing.
That's what it is. All right, let's get some gas and
First
go
gear's
for
about
another
nothing.
9 miles.
So you're in a hurry? Well, you better calm down. We're all friends around you, just join the fun. 'Cause if you're in a hurry, you're missing the point. Should enjoy the fruits of life instead of chasing coins. 'Cause it's a beautiful day. And come on, let's play.
Well, perfectly adequate automobile.
Dude, I didn't even kill it. I'll call it a win.
I usually say this is the vehicle that upstages everything. Ed's Vin Whiskey launch over the Bugatti, the Ute got a lot of attention. I noticed more neck snap over this, probably because it looks like there's no front wheel.
Man, anything that's just like weird, they're like, what is that? I mean, it's that wow look, you know, they don't know what it is, so it automatically draws attention to it.
But adequate, not for rural Georgia, but if like a cityscape, they make sense.
I honestly thought it was going to struggle to do 45, and I know we went through some 55s, and I thought we were going to be, you know, blocking traffic. The only thing was I could get up to 60, and some of those big hills, it definitely was struggling, but it maintained being able to do the speed limit still. So I'd call it viable.
Yeah, more of a cityscape car.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to drive it out rural like this.
Just don't realize how big a death trap you just drove, and it's totally fine.
I mean, for a means of transportation, it serves its purpose.
Well, you have a large empty back parking lot, and everyone says three-wheelers are unstable. So, not it.
Let's find out.
Why don't you go cut some tight circles?
Let's do it.
I'm safe because I can't drive the car. So, go ahead.
Jesus.
See, the moment you heard it rev up, the moment you got the tire off the ground, you quit putting power down.
It's psychologically scary.
All right, so what's the last test you want to do before it goes inside?
I think it's only logical we race.
Well, sir, a Hellcat Ute turns out is a little quicker than the Snyder.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna be able to give it a go, and maybe I'd beat you, but not even close.
The good news is one camera angle, the Snyder looks amazing.
You know, if we film it, or it's filmed right, but if we post it just right, it looks like I won.
I think all of the hard launches maybe has shifted something just a little bit. That's an exhaust rattle. We're not broken, but we're gonna have to tweak it a little bit. So I guess let's get this thing tucked in somewhere in the museum, and then we will close out the video.
Works for me, man.
right, we made it in. It turns out a really small vehicle is kind of easy to maneuver, sort of, through the museum.
I actually really like the little ones when it comes to moving around in the museum, because it is. I don't have to necessarily put them on the dollies, but they run. I mean, you can get through all kinds of stuff. I only had that one spot where you helped me push it in reverse a little bit.
Yeah, all of the drag launching maybe affected the integrity of one of my 3 motor mounts, so I'm gonna have to come over here, pop it off, re-weld it so that way it's ready. Again, logistically, you're still a ways off, but if people want to kind of follow and see when you're ready to kind of do the ride in the cars, best social medias is your Instagram page, Miles Through Time, Facebook page, Miles Through Time.
Yep, it's pretty much Miles Through Time everywhere, and you'll be able to follow along. We've got a newsletter too, so if you don't do social media, go to the website, put your email in there, and you'll stay up to date with everything.
You got Cannonball cars. Again, this is Gallery 4. I see the S10, it graduated to Gallery 3, the electric and oddballs.
That's where all the other electric and weird ones are, so it made sense, and I had to move yours and put Ed's Cannonball car
to get that one back, so. I try to bring cars that run and work through here, and again, we answered the question nobody cared to know, but a Hellcat Ute is faster than a Snyder ST. I would hope so.
You would assume right.
Again, follow Miles Through Time for updates when we're going to be able to do that. I'm going to bring a couple cars out, definitely for the first one, maybe corral some of the other influencers, if you want to call us that. But again, huge thank you to Mike for helping us get these parts for such a weird car. Thank you, Sean, for giving me the opportunity to put the weird car together.
Thank you, Jared, for doing all this. This is amazing. This whole museum is only here and possible because of people like you, so I appreciate it.
Yeah. So it was a lot of fun. So we're going to get back to our other questionable vehicles. This was definitely a questionable one to fit in. Make sure, if you're not, subscribe, comment below. Let us know if you think it was fun or stupid that we raced a Hellcat against it. We're still smiling, so it was fun.
It is worth it.
But you can have your wrong opinion. That's okay. But I'm Jared, reminding you guys to always make questionable choices and at least have a motorcycle license if you're going to transport a unregistered, uninsured vehicle. He's got a blanket policy. It's fine. It was totally legal. We'll see you next time.